How's it going, guys? And welcome to the showdown between the Greenskins, led by the Baconator, and the followers of Nagash, who are going to be led by Ark and the Black. So let's jump right into this match, guys, and have some fun. So on the front line, I do have a very heavy core of Blackworks, and I definitely feel like they're very strong in this matchup. Firstly, Blackworks do have 110 armor, so when you're looking at Tomb King's infantry and the followers of Nagash for that matter, Crypt Ghouls have pretty horrible armor-piercing, Skeleton Warriors obviously have terrible armor-piercing values, and even the high-end infantry, like the Kepra Guard and the Tomb Guards, all have really, really low armor-piercing values. So the 110 armor of these Blackworks is going to be very, very good in this matchup. On top of that, these guys are immune to psychology, which is very, very pertinent because you have Tomb Scorpions, you have Khemrian War Sphinxes, and I think actually Dov Plays, who I'm playing over here, does have a Khemrian War Sphinx. His Tomb King is riding it, so having that immunity to psychology in the front line is going to be really nice, especially when you're going to be doing a troll-centric army composition. And now that leads me on to my next point. The Trolls are, I think they're a bit of an X factor in this matchup. Firstly, they have 54 movement speed, so if it does come down to it, they can chase down the Ushabti Great Bows, they regenerate, and I've actually had a ton of success with them, and as much as I it feels weird to say, but I actually think they're going to be a viable, decent pick against the Tomb Kings for the Greenskins. And I've had a lot of success in other matchups, but again, we'll have to wait and see the result of this one. But, good armor piercing. So if they do fight Ushabti head-to-head, they do pretty well. 100 armor piercing damage, 34, 32 for their respective combat stats. And when you look at the Ushabti over here, these guys are 23, 35, and 72 with an anti-infantry bonus. So the Trolls are going to have a little bit of an advantage in just a head-to-head, trade, but they also have very poor leadership. So that's why I really like to saturate them with the Black Orcs. So the Black Orcs are just going to crush the entire Tomb King's front line. The Trolls will obviously be able to counteract the Ushabti, hopefully, assuming they don't rout off. And, that's also going to be contingent on my opponent over here using the Ushabti Great Bows to pick off the Trolls and a bunch of other variables. But I've had pretty good success so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they do. I do also have the Hoglord Wurzog. I think he's always a pretty good pick. Effigy of the Get, incredibly strong at snaring down Tomb King's Lords. He has armor piercing himself and a bunch of good buffs. You guys know the Hogmaster well. In the secondary line, I do have a Goblin Firing Squad, so the Rusty Heirs and some Goblin Archers to take out those big constructs and work on, the Tomb King's Lords and things like that, so I'm hoping they'll do pretty well. I do also have two groups of Nasty Skulkers in the back. These guys have good AP values, but mostly they're there for the smoke bomb, so, some Tomb King's horses come in here, skeleton horses, whatever, a Hex Race, whatever it may be, they're going to do a pretty good job. Last but not least, I do have the Arachnarok Queen. So the Arachnarok Queen, obviously a huge magnet for Ushabti Great Bowfire, which kind of sucks a little bit, but they're going to do great against Ushabti in the front line. And, oftentimes from my experience, like the Greenskin front line can get really, really run over by the Tomb King Ushabti and their other monstrous constructs. So I figured this guy would be an additional block. And on top of that, he can summon spiders in the back line that can really kind of muck up these archers and do pretty good for you. So for Dog Plays over here, he does have Hex Race up on the high ground, getting a little bit sneaky over here. Thankfully, on the Effigy of the Get obviously does magic damage, but on top of that, the Fist of Gork now imbues magic damage, so I actually have some counterplay to these guys. He does have a Tomb Prince, or a Lich Priest, yeah, I think that's what it is, of Nehekara, so he does have a lot of Crypt Ghouls and other undead units that are going to benefit from the healing of the lore of Nehekara, so definitely going to be cool. Skeleton Spears in the front line, definitely going to be a little bit spooky for my Trolls. A couple groups of Crypt Ghouls, so he's probably expecting some Orc Boys and some more low-tier infantry, but against Blackworks, they're not going to do a whole lot. But regardless, he has plenty of armor piercing, two groups of Ushabti here, and then he does also have a Khemrian War Sphinx and the Great Bows, and then Necrotech here, who's going to be healing some of these constructs. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road. So you can see the boys are going to be marching in, taking a little bit of Ushabti Great Bow fire. It doesn't look like it's killed any of these guys quite yet. I think it's shooting at the Black Orcs. The Trolls are definitely going to be very susceptible to that fire, as will the Arachnarok Queen. But regardless, right now, he's just poking away at the Black Orcs. They're really not taking a lot of damage. It looks like the first Black Orc now just now finally goes down. But aside from that, no funny business on the flanks. You can see all is quiet over here. I have obviously a very aggressive infantry army, not too many flanking tactics or other things like that. You can see the Hoglord and the Arachnarok Queen are going to be jumping in there. I'm just trying to get a spider summon here on those Ushabti Great Bows. So this is the first point of contention up here on the high ground. You can see the Hex Racer coming in. So I use Effigy of the Get to pin them. Then I come in just balls deep with these Trolls. So the Trolls are leaping in. Obviously, Dov, actually, what does he use here? The Enkill's Canopy, magic resist and physical resist. So they're going to be mitigating a lot of the damage I will be doing with the Narrow's Incantation. But, given the Trolls, the Fist of Gork is going to imbue them with magic damage, but he does have that thing that makes him take 66% less magical damage, which is a really cool synergy. But regardless, the Trolls are still doing a ton of work, and I do have the Nasty Skulkers coming in. So as soon as Effigy of the Get wears off, I just run in the Skulkers and use the Smoke Bomb to pin these guys down. These Trolls are just doing huge work so far, so definitely very pleased with that initial engagement there. In the front line, the Blackworks are in here, and they are going to be fighting the Ushabti, taking a little bit of damage, but like I said, Ushabti are the Blackworks in a 2v1 situation. So one group of Ushabti and one group of Skeleton Warriors, actually, on my testing, not in every matchup, we did like 3 or 4 tests, but the Blackworks can actually win that 2v1 engagement, so they're a very, very solid infantry choice for sure. So they're going to be holding this massive horde back here. In the middle, you can see my Trolls and other troops are just going to town. I'm making sure to path them after the Ushabti to get that really heavy armor piercing. You can see a little bit of an even trade here in the front line. Top place is going to be using his Tomb King over here in the middle to be running into my Blackworks, so a pretty good engagement as well. There we go. It's going to be giving the Blackworks a massive melee attack buff, but still that Sphinx right there is obviously really hurting the leadership of the Trolls. They're terrified and already have, horrid leadership to begin with. So on the flank, you can see the Hex Race got pretty much annihilated. They're crumbling. They got killed by the Effigy and the Nasty Skulkers bombs and the Trolls with the Fist of Gork. And the Trolls will retreat, and but as long as you're pretty on top of bringing them back in this matchup, they seem to do pretty well. So the Trolls re-engage here on the far side, just going to be smashing the last of these Wraiths. They're down to about 12 models, about 300 HP, so it shouldn't be a problem here. You can see his Tomb King does take a little bit of damage from those Blackworks, but he was able to do a ton of work on my Blackworks with that Cambrian War Sphinx and put a pretty big dent in my center pocket here. But over here, it's going really well. You can see these Trolls still have 12 models, so they can potentially heal up. The Blackworks are really getting through all these low-tier troops, and the Arachnaut Queen has been taking a ton of focus fire, so Dov, very well played here, has been shooting at the Arachnaut Queen all day with these Ushabti Great Bows, but she's pretty quick, 57 speed, huge armor-piercing values, poison, and can also summon the Spiderlings to kind of mitigate some of the effectiveness of the Ushabti, and I think there's some sort of witchcraft going on right here. Looks like some spells being cast. I can't remember what it was. It's actually the Spider Summons. Oh, that's creepy looking. I never actually saw that up close, but they come out of the ground and will definitely help against these bows here. In the meantime, the Rusty Airs are going to be shooting over here at the Ushabti Great Bows, sundering their armor, doing a little bit of HP damage. So the Goblin firing line has been pretty safe. Having that very durable Blackwork/Troll front line seems to be working out pretty well. Unfortunately, Dov has gotten into the cookie jar here. You can see that his Tomb King is staring down these goblins menacingly right here, but maybe he's going to be changing his focus. Not sure if he's going to be charging these guys, but I'm sure he will in just a moment. In the front line, the Blackworks are finally starting to take a little bit of attrition here. The Ushabti down to 10 models, and the Crypt Ghouls are poisoning them, so there's a ton of variables kind of working against them in this 3v1 engagement, but considering it is a 3v1 from a pure cost analysis standpoint, it's pretty good for these Blackworks. In the middle, they're really destroying these Skeleton Spears, so I do have a pretty healthy little pocket, 32 Blackworks right here. And you can see the Spiderlings, a very, very good utility right here against these Ushabti, just kind of pinning them and keeping them from firing their arrows. But it looks like they might be able to turn and shoot despite the fact that the spiders are on them. But yeah, great value from these guys so far. You can see the Hog Lord is going over here, just kind of smacking down some of these Ushabti. Oh yeah, just going full wild hogs right here. Did he just cleave that guy's head off? Oh no, I thought his head actually shattered there by Wurzog. That would have been pretty cool, but Spider is taking quite a bit of damage. It might rout off here, but Wurzog, really good armor piercing, a charge value of 86. So he's able to get in there and really get some great charges using the support of some of these Spiderlings and hopefully able to put these guys down. So the mainline fight is underway. The Blackworks and the Trolls are just going at it in here, fighting against these spooky, scary skeletons. But I really do like the Trolls quite a bit in this matchup. And I first had this revelation when I was playing the other day. So I put up a replay. You guys probably saw it. It was Tomb Kings versus Chaos. And I was playing against Nanamashos, and he actually used Chaos Trolls against me. And at first I was like, oh, this is kind of memey, it's just kind of having some fun, but it was actually kind of effective at pressuring my Ushabti and some of my other units. I was like, you know what? Maybe that's kind of the recipe for success in the Greenskin matchup, because the Greenskins just get their infantry without the support of the Trolls and the Arachnaut Queen. I find they just get run over by Cambrian War Sphinxes, and it's a little bit tough, but I found the Trolls were a decent little buffer, and the Arachnaut Queen obviously has done a ton of work this game, just kind of mucking up the archers, using her spiders to control the back line, and definitely has brought me some pretty good value. So as it stands, the balance of power is very, very even. This game could definitely go either way. The Arachnaut Queen's starting to get a little bit low, and these Ushabti do get the Joff's Incantation, so that's going to really augment their armor-piercing damage. And you can see the Hog Lord has been caught. So the summoned Ushabti and this Necrotect are going after the Hog Lord, and he's just barely able to squeal out of here. You can see, I think it's called Spleen Rippa is the name of his pig he rides, but the Trolls are kind of routing off and perpetually coming back without regeneration. Definitely a very, very good ability there. You can see the Lich Priest is able to get away from those nasty Skulkers, so he still has quite a few powerful units. He does have this Tomb King here who's in pretty much a perfect shape. 6.2k HP is going to be really, really tough to take down. I do have some Goblin firing lines though. The Rusty Airs are here. These Goblin Archers still have 63 models. Some Blackworks are coming back. 9 models, excuse me there. Didn't mean to do that. But it's going to be tough to take this guy down. Thankfully, the Trolls are still fighting. They do have Ere We Go, but I mean, they just keep getting terrorized by this Cambrian War Sphinx. Over here in the back, you can see the Arachnaut Queen and the Hog Lord are able to kind of almost polish off these Ushabti. Pretty sure all the Great Bow options are done for, which is really nice, because that's going to allow me to kind of have a straight up fight and not have to worry about getting kited by Ushabti Great Bows, because I don't really have anything at this point that could catch them. So I did see the Tomb King coming in to get my Spider, and I really wanted to make sure I finished these guys off, although they are a summon unit, so I could have just left them anyways, and it looks like that's what I ended up doing. But I just wanted to use Effigy on the Tomb King here just to pin him down and keep him from getting on my Queen, creating a little bit of distance here, and getting the Hog Lord back to the fight. So up here in the hill, you can see the Nasty Skulkers are going to be prison shanking some of the Ushabti, definitely bringing some great armor piercing to the table. I feel like they're pretty good in this matchup against the Constructs. Obviously, they are going to get cleaved by that anti-infantry bonus. But you can see these guys are crumbling, and they're going down just to kind of this volume of fire from the angry Gobos right here. The Hog Lord is going to be hunting down the Lich Priest right here, just on his Wild Hog. 62 speed against 76, so Spleen Rippa definitely isn't the fastest of mounts, but he's trying his little heart out. Over here on the far side of the map, I do summon my last group of spiders, and the spiders are going to be helping against the Tomb King, but this is obviously a horrible uphill matchup for me. 1200 HP right here, but it looks like the poison might be helping, bringing the weapon strength down to 392. And the Arachnarch Queen really isn't going down. I mean, 150 armor is a ton of armor, so even though this guy does have a lot of armor piercing damage, he also has a fair amount of damage that isn't going to be piercing the armor. So the Arachnarch Queen standing pretty firm and, you know, dragging down maybe 1,000 HP here, which is going to be pretty good. In the meantime, the trolls are pushing back in. I was able to secure my backfield, so you can see I have the Rusty Arrows. I have some trolls routing on the high ground, so yeah, I mean, even though the leadership is horrible, they're coming back, rocking a hard 23 leadership, 18 right there. These ones are at 26. He does have the Lich Priest with Lord of Nakar and a Necrotect, but he doesn't have any more constructs to heal, so I don't really need to worry about that. But the Spiderlings getting a pretty good little surround and just chipping away at this guy. Looks like they're not able to really get any attacks off. You guys can see the HP isn't really tanking at all. So maybe their melee attack's just horrible. Yeah, 22, but still, no. It did 10 damage right there. Okay, so it's adding up. It's getting there. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of reforming my forces. You can see the Trolls and the Blackworks just going to be forming another battle line here, getting ready for the final showdowns. A little bit of a fast forward here. Right now, the Trolls are just going to collapse. And, I mean, it's a little bit scary because their leadership is so poor against this terror-causing unit, but they're going to get in there. You can see the Khemrian War Sphinx doing its thing, and I do drop a get back here to make sure my Trolls don't rout instantly. That'll put their leadership up into the 40s, which is pretty good by their standards. And they're starting to lay a bit of a beating, but I did not see this coming. So Dov actually gets, and my apologies for that there, Dov actually gets the curse off. So the curse is going to do some substantial AoE damage to this entire group right here. I do pop Fist of Gork to give me some magic damage and melee attack and melee defense, just trying my best to get through these Tomb Kings. And it's just a very, very close fight right now. Wurzog is also providing some pretty good AP, but even though the bounce power is so heavily in my favor, when you're playing the Greenskins, they're one of those factions that can just like if Wurzog took a couple bad hits and my trolls like routed off, there could be like a chain rout going on. So it was really, really scary. So you can see here the Hog Lord is fighting against this Tomb King who's just like breathing. I don't even know what that is, but he does pop the Enkiel's Canopy, which is cool. And I really like that synergy that Job brought to the table. So the Hex Race, their big weakness is obviously magic damage. So then he used the magic resist item when I was doing magic damage. It wasn't enough to save him, but I think it's definitely something worth exploring. So the Trolls are all pretty much routing off. My nasty Skulkers, I do have some Blackworks and additional Skulkers coming back, but he still has a couple of heroic units. Definitely very scary here, but the big thing I have going for me is my Archers in the back. So the Goblin Archers and the Rusty Arrows are able to unload a ton of damage, and of course Wurzog is really strong in melee. 51 melee attack and 350 plus weapon strength with good armor piercing values is going to probably be enough to get through the 110 armor of this Tomb King here. So well played to Job. It was a very, very close game, but I honestly think we're onto something with the Trolls. Now, maybe 3 is a little bit too much, but they were a great counter to the Ushabti. They're able to give me some AP against the big constructs. Now, they're a little bit flimsy, and I'm sure there's certain, like, had he gone with, like, a couple of groups of Skeleton Archers and some Ushabti Great Bows instead of these, like, Crypt Ghouls, I feel like they would have gotten melted really quick. So I don't think they're the kind of, snake oil that's going to, or the answer that's really going to deal with all of our, the Greenskin problems with the Tomb King constructs, but I feel like they're a variable that could potentially be part of the solution. The Arachnarch Queen didn't get a ton of kills, but did some very good work against the Great Bows and the Spider Summons, and all kinds of good stuff was going on. So yeah, it was quite a bit of fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing this Greenskin versus Tomb King showdown, or followers of Nagash, I should say. Make sure to go check out Dob Plays over on the YouTube. There will be a link in the comment section below, and a big thanks for him for playing this game. Although we actually ran into each other. This was a ladder snipe, so we just randomly ran into each other on ladder, so quite a bit of fun. So thanks again for watching, guys. Have an excellent night, and take care.